So Microsoft decided to ask a question that they themselves actually helped create in the first place. Now, I want you to imagine that in an entire year, 365 days, every single day, somebody punches you in the face. Every single day. And on the 365th day after punching you in the face 364 days in a row, after they punch you, they ask you, you know, it seems like you don't like me. Why don't you like me? Well, the answer to that question would be because you punched me in the face 365 times. Microsoft decided to ask developers a question, and I want to read you this article, and then we'll talk about why it's so baffling that they had to ask this question in the first place. So it says, Microsoft has opened a new program similar to Xbox Insider for everyone involved in game development, from those in marketing and user research to community managers, PMs, artists, and more. The idea is to gather feedback on all aspects of the industry so that Xbox can make their lives, quote-unquote, easier. However, there's one particular part of this program that stands out. As reported by The Verge, Principal User Research Deborah Henderson asked, "If you aren't on Xbox, we'd love to know why. And honestly, if you're using our competitors' products a la the PlayStation 5, you probably have a great perspective we can learn from. Over the last few years, we've seen countless high-profile cases of popular games either missing out on Xbox altogether or launching at a much later date. The most infamous case is Baldur's Gate 3. Larian Studios' award-winning viral sensation didn't launch on Xbox until December because of parity issues with the Series S. More recently, reports surfaced that Black Myth Wukong struggles on the Xbox Series X, which might explain why it still hasn't been ported, although it could be down to a Sony exclusivity deal. That's in parentheses, by the way. The Xbox Series S has been getting a lot of bad press. Microsoft has split its console into two formats this generation, the Series S and the X. I'm not going to go through this. You know, and if you don't know this, you should know this. But anytime you have a weaker product and a stronger product in the same generation, developers are going to struggle. Give them what PlayStation did. 2 SKUs, the same power, one physical, one digital. Why Microsoft decided to do this? Probably to combat Sony's brand relevance around the world and enter with a cheaper price, but it hasn't really worked out that way. Now, here's the question that baffles me. Go back to the getting punched in the face every single day for 365 days in a row. Microsoft has spent how long telling everyone that there's no console required? You don't need a console. They just went to a large trade show and talked about Amazon Fire Stick being an Xbox. The marketing for the biggest game that Bethesda ever released, according to Bethesda, Starfield, was literally no console required. So explain to me how Microsoft doesn't understand that, of course, if you tell a large group of consumers, not to mention a large group of developers, that they don't even need the console, why then, after a few years of saying this, would you sit around and ask yourself, I wonder why those developers aren't on the console that we told the consumers that they didn't need, that led to consumers not buying the console, that led to less opportunity of selling developers games on the platform? Why would you ask them, why aren't they there, when you've told them over and over again that they don't need to be there? As a software company, I guess if you like Microsoft and you like Windows, you can call them successful. As an entertainment company, which Microsoft has never been, they are absolutely clueless when it comes to what gamers want. They simply cannot get out of their own way. They've got the wrong people in the top positions, and it's just not working. Again, every single time somebody from Microsoft mentions the Xbox console, they remind people that you don't need it. They're punching their own baby in the face every single time they talk about it. And then they've got the gall to ask questions to developers like, why aren't you here? It's really less about the differences between the X and the S, and it's more about the fact that nobody around the world wants to buy an Xbox Series X or an Xbox Series S, apart from the super niche, small, hardcore base of Xbox consumers that spend a lot of time on social media and not much time doing anything else, like playing video games, or more importantly for these developers that aren't there buying video games. Let me give you some insight into the mentality of some of the people who are hardcore into Xbox. So I finished Call of Duty 6's campaign yesterday, and I posted online that every single achievement that I got throughout the campaign was a rare achievement. Now, of course, the game just came out, but it's the biggest release in Game Pass ever. It's the first time a major Call of Duty game released in a subscription service day and date. People were talking about the campaign. It was the best Call of Duty campaign ever in a long time, and yet nobody is playing it. And when I asked that question, the responses that I got were, who cares about the campaign? It's all about multiplayer. Well, you look at who's playing the multiplayer and who's playing the game, it's PlayStation. And then the responses that I get are, well, they're giving that money to Microsoft. So if you're a shareholder, I could see getting excited about that. But if you're somebody who likes console gaming and you like the Xbox console, what in the world are you talking about? People need to buy the console. People need to buy games from third-party developers who aren't in Xbox. Shaming developers for not putting their games in Xbox is the most asinine thing I've ever seen. I'm at the point now where I feel like I'm this old school Xbox guy. I beta tested Xbox Live with NFL Fever. I had the original Xbox all the way from the 360 all the way up until now. Where did this group of people come from that praise the death of a physical product, prop up numbers in a subscription service? Where are the Netflix podcasts and the Hulu podcasts? Where are the people who are jumping up and down about Netflix versus Amazon Prime? No one cares. A physical box needs to sell. There needs to be reasons to own it, and developers need to be supported. But we don't get any of that. We just get this deflection and these ridiculous questions from a company that is so out of touch with the things that they've actually implemented. It's like Microsoft forgot that they told everybody you don't need a console, and then all of a sudden they're sitting around scratching their heads saying, why are people buying PS5s? Why are physical and digital game sales so much higher there? Why are our own games that weren't our own games? Call of Duty would have been on Xbox anyway, but they purchased it, and of course no one's buying it on the Xbox. Another baffling statement is, who would buy a video game if it's in a subscription service? Tell that to a third-party developer. You help me understand what the hell is going on at Xbox. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.